So I'm going to be talking about my two favorite controllers in 2024, which is the PS5 DualSense Edge and also the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. And I know these controllers are very similar in a lot of ways, and I've had both of these for a pretty long time now. So stay tuned, because in this video I'm going to be talking about my experience with both of these controllers and how they are in 2024. Let's get right into it. What's happening, YouTube? Caesar Randone here, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, especially if you like tech reviews, gaming reviews. Man, I even do some Legos on the channel, so go ahead and do that. But let's get straight into the video. So I do want to go into the specifics. I am going to be comparing my PS5 DualSense Edge controller to the Xbox Elite Series 2 Core controller. Now, the Core controller is different from the regular Elite Series 2. One, it's a little bit less, about like $80 to $100. Two, the fact that it's less is also because it doesn't come with any of the buttons in the back or the case. You're gonna have to purchase those, but essentially it's the same thing, has the same features. So let's get into it. Now, when it comes to the PS5 controller, I have had this one for about a year or year and a half now. This one I got on Christmas, so I've only had it for about like 6 or 7 months. So just keep that in mind while I'm doing this review, because even though I've had this one for a lot longer, it still looks brand new. And that's one thing I want to talk about, is the look and style of these two overall controllers. First, I'm going to start off with the PlayStation. I think PlayStation did a great job with this controller, and I actually like the look and style more than the Xbox One, just because of all the little details and all the little things they added. For example, on the triggers right here, you actually have like the X and triangle and circle logos as the grip right here. You also have those same symbols on the touchpad right here, which just makes it look beautiful. They actually put a lot of detail into all of this. On top of that, on the back, you do have a nice like rubber grip here. I have had a couple of people in the comments say that this actually starts to lift up. Me personally, I haven't had any issues with this back part lifting up. Like I said, I've had it for a year and a half and it still works perfectly and everything is still intact. Now, like I said, PlayStation definitely wins the design portion. I am going to show you the Xbox One as well. Now, this one, instead of just having a rubber grip right here on the back, you have it on both of the edges of this controller, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. On top of that, you still have a little bit of grip on the triggers, which is really nice too. And I love the fact that you can actually change the color of the Xbox logo through the app. I think it looks really dope. Now, one thing I do like a lot more when it comes to the Xbox controller and its design compared to the PlayStation controller is the fact that you can actually customize your own on Xbox Design Lab. So my wife actually customized this for me. She wanted to make it look like Halo theme, Master Chief theme, and I think she did an amazing job on all the little details of this controller. I think it looks beautiful, and the fact that you can customize the controller to pretty much make it whatever you want to is by far amazing, and I love that. Like, I love customizing my controller. PlayStation does not give you that option. This is the only controller you get. Yeah, you can take it to a third party and they may be able to like paint it up or like customize it for you, but the fact that Xbox lets you do it like straight from the jump, I think that's pretty cool. The custom one is going to cost a little bit more. Typically, the price for the core controller is like anywhere between $100 to $120, depending if you get the sale. But if you customize it, it's a little bit more, around like $150 or $160. Like I said, I still think as far as details go, PlayStation wins. But the fact that you can customize it, I love that about the Xbox controller. And the next thing I want to talk about when it comes to these two controllers is the actual buttons on the back. Now, obviously with these two controllers, you have the ability to kind of map the buttons to whatever your preferences are, and they come with buttons in the back as well. Now, like I said, since I have the core controller, I have to purchase those separately, and I have not done that yet. But if you did want to put buttons on the Xbox controller, you have room to fit 4 more custom buttons on the back of the Xbox controller. Whereas with the PlayStation controller, you only have room to fit 2. Now, with the buttons, PlayStation gives you 2 sorts of buttons. They give you the butterfly buttons, and these, which are my personal favorite, which is kind of like a half circle dome button. I think it's more comfortable. I think it's a lot easier to play with, and I definitely prefer this one a lot more. And when it comes to the Xbox, you do only get the wingtip buttons, but like I said, you are going to get 4 rather than just 2 on the back here. So if you're somebody who wants the most customization and the most out of their controller, I definitely think Xbox wins on this one. However, I do really like the shape of the dome PlayStation ones, and honestly, 2 buttons is pretty much all I need. But like I said, I haven't gotten the back buttons for this one yet, so I may be a little biased towards this one. And as far as the back buttons on here, like I said, I've had this for a while and I have no issues with them. I actually utilize these buttons a lot. Now, one thing I don't like is with the typical Xbox controller, the share button is actually right here in the middle. So they kind of remove the share button, and now in order to change your profile, like controller profile, you hit that middle button and the share button's gone. So if you do want to take like a screen recording of something, you have to like hit the Xbox button, go to the little share tab, and then hit it. It's a little more complicated. And with the PlayStation, rather than losing a button, they actually added one instead. So these 2 buttons right here, they do the same function, which is you hold one of them down and then you can change your controller profile like that. So rather than losing the share button like Xbox did, they added one, and it makes it a lot easier and still makes it super easy to share your video game content. Whereas since Xbox kind of removed that button, it makes it a little more complicated. And I know it doesn't really sound like a big problem, especially if you don't capture your games too much, but honestly, I like to film my games, so this kind of sucks for me. So I like the fact that PlayStation added buttons rather than getting rid of some. Now, further into the customization of these 2 controllers, one thing I do like about the Xbox controller is the fact that you can remove the D-pad and kind of switch it up with just the traditional D-pad if you want to. You can also kind of like mess with the caps as well. You can take them off, put them back on. It's really, really great. PlayStation, you can't do that. PlayStation, you're pretty much just stuck with this D-pad. However, you can kind of customize the caps on the joystick. It's a little easier to take off on the actual Xbox controller because this is magnetic, whereas this one is pretty much just like a clip. Like, listen. Hear that? And this one is just like so easy. Now, one of the main reasons I absolutely love the PlayStation controller more than the Xbox controller is because of this feature right here. So let's say you get stick drift on your Xbox controller. There's no way of fixing it unless you send it in for repair or you just open it up, fix it, or buy a new one. With the PlayStation controller, that doesn't really matter because you do have a button right here that releases the panel, and you can actually just pull this lever up, take out the joystick, and completely replace it. And this only costs $20. So rather than having to send your controller out for repair or getting a completely new one, you just get one of these little guys and you are good to go. And I think PlayStation did a really, really good job on this. Like, this was a very smart move on their part. So rather than spending a whole other $200, you spend $20 and you are good to go. And like I'm saying, that is one of my favorite features and one of my favorite benefits about this controller overall. But one thing I don't like about this controller that absolutely sucks about it is the battery life. This thing typically lasts me 4 to 5 hours. That's not that long. I have to charge it like every other day or pretty much every day, especially if I'm in a long gaming session. Whereas this one lasts me anywhere between 35 to 40 hours. But all I know is that I never really charge this one. I charge it once every once in a while. And this one I consistently have on the charger after every gaming session, pretty much all the time. I either play with it on the charger or I have to put it on the charger right after I'm done with a gaming session. So if charging is one of your main things, I would definitely go for this one. Like, I feel like PlayStation, this is great, but the fact that it only lasts 4 hours is not really worth it. Everything else about it is just the fact that you have to charge it. Granted, you do get a really, really long cord with this one, which makes it a little better, but the fact that this is consistently on the charger does kind of suck. But my experience with both of these have been by far amazing. Like I said, when it comes to the Xbox Elite 2 controller, I have had a little bit more negative comments about it, saying that it flakes out really, really soon, that people have had it for only a little bit and it doesn't really work. But like I said, I've had this for 6 months. I play some heavy games on this thing, and it still works perfectly fine. But if you want to see an updated review about both of these, go ahead, hit the subscribe button because I will be posting one either 6 months to a year from now. This one I've had for a very long time and it still works like a dream and I absolutely love it. Let's see if the Xbox One lasts as long as the PlayStation One, and I guess we'll find out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and let me know which controller you like better, the Xbox Elite 2 controller or the PS5 DualSense Edge. Let me know. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.